Yeah, the presence of Kalijah last year, or the lack thereof, kind of hurt things a little bit because they work in tandem. And that's just an area we own it. It hasn't been great. I mean, I think Yaya is a very good young, still ascending player, and Anthony Nelson still makes clutch plays when his number's called. But that is an area that we need. That's one of the areas that we need to focus on, whether it's free agency, draft, what have you. It's obvious that NFL is it's a pressure game. You need to get pressure on the quarterback in order to win, and it's not like we were getting blown out of these games. We were in a lot of close, tight games. But I think in order to take the next step from where we were in previous to 2025, which I think we will be, to take the next step, I think we need to get more pressure on the quarterback.
Sometimes you miss. I mean, the draft is a lot of things you go through, and you want to pick the right guys, and you miss. We have drafted tough guys, and we brought in some free agent tough guys. Pass rush is not where we want it to be, obviously. We got to coach it better, and they got to play it better. But, that's a position that's obviously of need, as a few other ones are going into the draft and free agency that we know we need to address, and hopefully we can get that fixed and ironed out.
Little both. It kind of depends. It just all depends on what's available and where you can fit them in. There's some really good young players that come out as rookies that can step in right away, and there's some ways that Todd can draw up his defense to maybe take a little bit more pressure off of them to be responsible for making all the plays. But I think we'd be open to either. It just kind of depends on who's available and what's out there.
I think we're aggressive. Because we haven't got them doesn't mean we're not aggressive. I think we signed the right type of free agents to come in here, and they're not necessarily the most big name to come in here, and that's okay with us because we need to find people that fit us as opposed to people we just give a bunch of dollars that may not fit us. I think that's important too, and when you're bidding against 32 or 31 other clubs, that makes it tough as well. So you got to have some plan B, C, D, and E's and and so forth going down the line, but you got to find the right guys to fit your team. And in the past, Jason has done a great job doing that.
And there you go, Bucs fans. As you heard, Jason Licht and Bucs head coach Todd Bowles speaking today at the Scouting Combine. Welcome in. Appreciate everyone joining us here at Real Bucs Talk. We're live here on a Tuesday. A lot to discuss, Mark, as we get into it. A lot was said there as far as free agency, the draft, and obviously position of need. I think it's clear the priorities is going to be edge and linebacker. And like Todd Bowles said just moments ago, it's can they find a way to get the right guys in here that are going to make an impact? And like he said there, you got to have backup plans on top of your original plans. And obviously it's going to come down to dollars and cents, but there was just a lot to discuss. Obviously, Mike Evans, Levante David was discussed. But Mark, first of all, how are you doing? How are we feeling? We're getting closer and closer to free agency and the NFL draft. And obviously, the Combine is going to be taking place this weekend, which will be really cool.
It's heating up, right?
Yep.
It's going to get – this is where the fun excitement comes and rumors and clearly even just from day one. I mean, just from all this, like you're like, where is your team going to go? And you hear Jason Licht say they're excited about their plan. They're going to right the ship. But then you also hear the sorrowful views of it, of they're potentially letting Mike Evans go test the market. And it doesn't sound like he has any hope that they're going to come back. Every time they talked about Mike, he'd kind of sound like a sob story and head down and really moving back and forth a lot. So like body language wise, it doesn't look good. Todd Bowles was the opposite. He's just more direct. He's always been more direct and kind of like, I guess, steady. But Jason Licht kind of showed a little bit there, in my opinion. Well, let's see. I mean, Mike's still. They're going to probably give him some number amount. There's going to be good teams there too. I know a lot of people have made arguments of why he should stay, should go. We'll probably get into that later, but it's Mike's decision. It's the end of his career. Does he want to win? Does he see this place as a place to win? That's the biggest question mark. I've never seen Mike as a player that just wants to get money. He's a guy that wants to win. And when he was winning here, he was excited and happy and team player. And that's how he's always going to be. He's a true Buccaneer. No matter if he did leave, you got to respect it. It's him wanting just to win. And if it is that, that's truly him saying that this team doesn't look like a place where he can win. And that makes you think as a Buck fan, well, what is it because of the coach? Is it because of the direction of the GM? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Right. But let's see this plan that Jason Licht, Todd Bowles have that they're excited about. They literally said that. I want to see what it is. And it is good to hear that it's front and seven focused. Todd Bowles also said they want to get bigger. Overall need to get bigger. I like hearing that as well, because there are deficiencies in areas where we've spoken of time and time again that they need to drop some liabilities and get back to what they did best, which was stop the run and get some attackers behind them. Right. So I think to me, it's visually get bigger in the interior so that your outside guys who are faster can get after it. So that's my 2 cents from what was taken today. But yeah, there's a lot of talking points, and guys, put it in the chat what you want to talk about, your biggest talking points, and plus I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I think just from the intro there, obviously discussing free agency, discussing, the edge position, the lack of pass rush has definitely been a point of emphasis, or hasn't been a point of emphasis. It's been an issue for the last several years, but I think just hearing them talk about it, they are both aligned, which is good. I think they're both on the same page, and there has to be a way to improve that. But I also like that Jason Licht talked about the multiple avenues. It's not just about the draft. He talked about free agency. He talked about potential trades. So I think that's a good thing. The openness about giving up draft picks. And I think also Todd Bowles there at the end said we've been aggressive. It hasn't been a lack of aggression. I think it's about making sure you get the right player, making sure you're putting the right dollar amount into that said player. Now, the things that they have done over the years, it hasn't worked out. Hassan Reddick, as good as he was playing at times, it just didn't materialize to results or production. And he got also injured. They talked about that too. He was suffering through injuries throughout the year. But I think the mindset has to be understanding that these guys are going to go through injuries. You got to find a way to get depth. Yes. And we've seen that throughout the last two Super Bowl champions. None of those teams had 10 sack guys, like 10 plus, from a pass rush. They didn't have a dominant pass rush. What they were able to do is find multiple guys that came in and helped the front to be a unit and rush as a unit. So I think you've seen that with Seattle and what they've been able to accomplish there, having the capable linebackers in play to produce a front seven. So it has to. It has to improve, no doubt. Especially when you're counting on guys like Kalijah Cansey, even David Walker, the rookie last year. Like, you're counting on Hassan Reddick and a bunch of guys that are coming in. This didn't work out. Cansey got hurt, and that took a big part of it. So yeah, I think size, and go check out our Substack, guys, if you haven't done so, or if you're a YouTube member like Bud Cannabis is, be sure to check out our film studies up there. We did film on bigger defensive linemen. Keldrick Falk, he's probably one of the biggest guys in the draft, and he could be a potential option at 15 if that's truly what they want to do. And you can also look at like TJ Parker, who came out today. He's a bigger edge, heavy-handed guy. But yeah, I think the main takeaways for me edge linebacker priority. Trades are going to be on the table if the right one is there for the taking, and that means Max Crosby is in play. I truly believe that. And then the last thing is just the understanding of the overall talent in the room, and also understanding that maybe it is time to move on from Mike Evans. Maybe it is time to move on from Levante David. You drafted Emeka Ibuka to be a wide receiver 1. You took him in the first round for a reason. So I think he could be a potential replacement. And I think it would make sense if they don't want to pay Mike Evans a certain number, then it would be best to move on from that.
Yeah, that's the biggest emotional attachment Buck fans will do, and they're going to blame Todd Bowles for that too. Because of Todd Bowles, why he didn't want to come back, and that's why we're going to lose, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But either way, yeah, you have a great player who's a bona fide Hall of Famer. You want to keep him, yes. But like you just said, it comes down, it's a business as well. Yes, you want to pay your best players that much, and again, neglect the defensive side of the ball. Are you going to have to eventually realize, wait a minute, I still have a really good potential player in Emeka Ibuka who's on a rookie contract where we could really expend a lot more on the defensive side to balance this thing out, and have it be a more competitive. I know we're in a lot of games. He mentioned that. He's like, it's not like we're getting blown out. We're in every game. We just lost a lot of close ones. Yeah, but still, like, you got to balance this thing out. Like it's so heavily one-sided, where your caliber of players on the offense is way better in the defense. Because he even prided himself in saying that the offensive line is probably the best unit on the team. And then I would say second unit is a wide receiver, by quarterback, running back. You don't get the defense until you get to like maybe safety, because you have Tyke and Winfield. But like, you can't be that far away from the ball that your best player on defense is in the safeties. Like, it's atrocious and terrible team personnel. Like or poor resource management. The biggest thing. And that's something you said on Twitter, like saying, like, realizing that you just drafted a first round wide receiver that has a potential to take over for Mike Evans. And this is what you had to plan for. And that is a forward thinking mentality, proactive move. Is Mike worthy of a $20 million cap again? An aging player with that $20 million cap again. Great player. You love him. I want him back. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But like, you got to play the cards of like, is it worth it? I mean, is it truly worth it? I mean, I know the Rams got rid of what's his name?
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
We're still in it. Yeah. Seattle gets him probably for a lower cap, and they made him look amazing. Well, look, same thing with Seattle. They got rid of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and they just switch him in with Jackson Smith and Jugba and Cooper Kupp. Look where they end up. It's you just got to be able to mix and match. It's not, none of them are exactly going to be the same, but you got to rhyme together with this. And the biggest rhyme to me is the defensive side of the ball, and I wanted to talk on that because there were questions on that. Like we're saying, there needs to be depth to that. He mentioned, Kalijah went down and David Walker went down, and then we didn't have a pass rush. Though you're going to rely on a 4th round pick to be your a la pass rusher, and Kalijah Cansey, the guy who's proven he can't stay healthy. And that was all. And then he mentioned Anthony Nelson. I couldn't believe that he put his name out there.
Well, ridiculous. I think he mentioned him because he's under contract. But
yes, but still,
I mean, Hassan Reddick.
But either way, it's clearly that the players he's drafted aren't working on the edge, for that matter, or pass rush in general, and he's to do better in that. And I think it's proven. We've talked about this beyond beating a dead horse, but it's just a fact. Like, that they need to improve on that. They need to address that issue, no matter what, right? Yeah. And the fact that he's saying those things is a good thing as a Buck fan, and I'm hoping they put all that attention and resource to that, because it's to put Yaya and Anthony Nelson in the same breath, and then to say your pass rush plan fell out because Kalijah and David Walker were gone. That's awful to me. Like,
I don't think it was just that. I mean, Hassan Reddick was a part of the plan, but obviously that didn't work either. So it was just a lot of things that went wrong.
There's just no depth behind it. That's the main thing. and that's something they're mentioning they're going to fix, which is a great thing to hear.
Yeah, and then again, that comes down to, like we said before, resource management. It's understanding. It's and this leads to the discussion. I know a lot of people don't want Mike Evans to go. I don't want him to go either. And people ask the question schematically, who's going to play the X, because that's what Mike Evans plays. And people were talking about, well, if Mike Evans goes, you need a 6'4", 6'5" receiver. It doesn't play that way. And look at what the Rams, look at what Seattle does. Seattle doesn't have a big time X receiver. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is
6 foot.
Yeah, he's really good. Really good. Knows how to get open. They run the offense around him. I don't see why Emeka Egbuka couldn't do similar things. Plus, you have Jalen McMillan, who's also a pretty good sized receiver. And on top of that, you have Chris Godwin. So, yeah, don't get me started on Logan Hall. But Chris Godwin, they just gave him a 3-year deal.
All in.
Yeah.
All in. Never mind. I'll shut up. Go with your point.
No, I'm just saying, like, I understand the want to or the need for Mike Evans because he's a great red zone factor. He's a great source as far as big plays down the field. But at the end of the day, you drafted Emeka Egbuka just based on drafting for now and the future, and truly is the future. And you were in this situation no matter what going into this offseason. You knew Mike Evans' contract was up. You just re-signed Chris Godwin, and people were saying, well, they drafted Emeka for Chris Godwin. I was like, no, Chris Godwin was re-signed because they feel he's a very good player. And he showed that towards the end of the season last year. So they're making a bet on him to not only be back, but be back to what he was. And you add that in with Emeka, Jalen McMillan, and then also Tez Johnson. I think there's opportunity there to move on from Mike Evans. Now, will they? I don't know. It's going to come down to what his number is, what the other teams offer. I think if it was me, if I had to choose right now, I would probably re-sign Cade Otton just because he's a bigger factor of this team that no one wants to admit as far as the run game and everything else he does in terms of the offense. But yeah, Mike is still a very good player, Hall of Famer. All those things play a part. But personally, they'll probably just go with Mike Evans and then let Cade Otton walk, which, again, probably be a mistake. But it is what it is.
Well, supposedly, I think I was listening to Peter report. They were saying that even Cade Otton, they may not even sign back.
Yeah, that's what I was.
All right. So it's like
none of them will be signed back. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that could be. And again, that opens up the opportunity to add more to your defense because when you look at the cap situation, they only have around $50 million to work with. It's cash over cap. A lot of people are talking about cap space, and I got into a Facebook conversation, and they don't know what's going on over there. But yeah, this team is going to spend to the cap number, which is around $305 million. So you got about $50 million to work with. They have a budget, and you got to make things work. That's why I think being creative, using free agency, using trades, draft, all that has to be a part of this team this offseason.
The realization of it is if you lose both, how confident are fans in that? If you lose both Mike and Cade, I know we're more highly on Cade than anyone, but
yeah,
I mean, like you just said, for the running game and how dependable and reassuring he is at that position, it's almost like, just let him do what he's going to do. Yeah, he's not an all-star. Everyone expects like a George Kittle or Rob Gronkowski or something immaculate. No, for a team that's overloaded on wide receiver, I'm not expecting my tight end to do much besides block and pick up a first down every now and then. You can't expect a Pro Bowl player to every position. And if you're going to overload your offense on wide receiver and offensive line, you're going to have step backs in other positions. It's just understanding there's a salary cap. It's not a Pro Bowl team. This is an actual 53-man roster you have to have in that damn salary cap issue, right? So,
yeah.
And that's why I said some of it has to get appointed to the defense. And when there's $20 million at safety, that also hurts too, that far away from the ball. But he's a guy that can be moved around in every which way. Yeah. But it's like, well, what are we doing with that front seven, right? And I do like this. This was up here.
Mm.
Let me find this comment. Here it is. Push Dennis to linebacker 3 or 4 and draft and sign a Kobe Dean. I loved how direct Todd Bowles was saying that Servassier, he could be a starter. If we didn't like what he did in the open field, I don't think anyone liked what he did in the open field against any running back.
Yeah.
Stopped the run well, but we are definitely going to bring in competition for Servassier. And it's not saying you are the starter, you're going to get competition. I like how direct he was about that. Give Todd Bowles all the shit anyone wants to give him, but he's very direct in that, saying, listen, he was not that great at certain things. And are we confident in that going into the season? No, that's why we're going to bring in competition. I loved hearing that. Literally loved it.
Yeah, let's we'll take a listen to that right now. So this is Todd Bowles talking about Tyke Smith, Servassier Dennis, and Chris Braswell as well. So we'll give that a shout. Here it is right here.
It's definitely a position for him long term. We thought he was our best player probably up until he hurt his shoulder, probably 3/4 of the way through the season. He was our best tackler. He was our tone setter, and I thought he was on his way to a heck of a season. But he's definitely a safety. He can be a starter if he cleans up his open field play. You know, he played well against the run. He gave up some things in the pass game that we didn't like. It was his first full year starting, so we look for him to get better. But he'll definitely have competition. Just got to come off the ball consistently. I thought Chris made great strides last year, especially what we asked him to do. And he's got to take it over this year. He really has to take it over this year. He showed flashes, but not fast enough flashes. And I think if we gave him a chance, I think he'll do a lot better job this year.
Yeah, so I mean, talking about, you know, Tyke at safety, I don't know if I agree with Todd Bowles there. I think Tyke is better suited to be around the line of scrimmage. You know, I think he's shown his best stuff there, and he was showing that through the first half of the season for sure, where he was having a pretty good season. Then he talked about his shoulder injury. Servassier Dennis, the biggest issue with Servassier is just not a, you know, superior athlete, not a, you know, great athlete, not overall like big as far as size. And that's something Todd Bowles mentioned. We need to get bigger. That could be a area that they do get more size there. I think people forget like Devin White, he was a pretty big linebacker as far as overall size, long arms, had, you know, the speed to run sideline to sideline.
I wouldn't say he had long arms.
No, I thought he did have long arms, but either way, Servassier, his issue was in the open field, a lot of missed tackles, a lot of, you know, yards after the catch given up. And then on the last part with Chris Braswell, I don't know if he's, you know, guaranteed a spot on this team this year, but I think it's evident that he's got to step up big time, or else it's going to be, you know, we'll see you later.
Yeah. Devin White, 32 and an 1/8.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think that's bigger size than Servassier.
Oh, but 240, that's a load.
Yeah.
Overall, like, but then the 4.42, that helps. That helps.
Yeah. That
right?
does.
That helps. 1.51, 10-yard split. That helps.
Yep.
But I mean, breaking it down, Tyke, yes, he's right that he was literally our best player the first half of the season. Injuries hurt everyone, but I think it's also, again, a guy that's that far away from the ball. I keep saying it. If your best players are at safety, they cannot do well if there's no pass rush in front of them. So the fact that Kalijah's hurt, Hassan Reddick's hurt, your David Walker, who never even made it to the season, out. You have Anthony Nelson and Yaya as your edge rushers. You're not going to get consistent pass rush, and you're asking guys that are playing 20 yards back to make big plays. It's not going to happen. And then you get guys that are mixing in, communications bad. The safeties are going to look the worst out of all of them because of that. If you play that far away, a little mistake close to the ball is going to turn into a huge mistake out away from the ball. That's some things that the casual fan doesn't really necessarily see. They just see, oh, they sucked.
Yeah.
But it's all a team game for a reason. If someone up close messes up, the further back, it's harder to fix it. There's a lot more margin for error, right? Same thing with like what we said with throwing the ball so far down the field. It's almost setting up Jameis for failure at times because he's prone for interceptions. You're telling him to throw the ball 30 plus yards down the field. Bigger margin for error. But with that, I mean, Tyke, I see where he's saying he was our better player, one of our best players. And in a short span, he was. And I could see it continue if we continue to get better at the pass rush. That's the biggest thing, point blank. Front seven needs to improve. People in front of him gets better, he's going to turn into a freaking all-star.
Yeah.
Servassier, yes, we need to get better. That is part of it, right? A simple dump should turn into a simple dump, not 15, 20 yards down the field or Bijan running 80 yards down the field, right? So that needs to get cleaned up. It's a simple assignment-based thing. His run fits did well. His pass rush, situational pass rusher was pretty damn good too. But it's more than just that. And as to be a complete linebacker that's on the field on all downs, you got to do better in that. And that's why I think he said competition's going to be coming, because we don't know he can do that. Even though it's just 1 year, full season. Even though it's his it was his third season.
Yeah.
Either way, like you found out he can't do that in a high volume capacity. And then lastly, Chris Braswell, it's difficult to say that. I know Todd Bowles isn't going to down no one. I know he directly said about Servassier, but Chris Braswell he said he needs to do faster. He needs to play it faster. I agree. But I mean, I think this is going to be more a decision of preseason if he's going to make it. Not let's see it again in the season.
Yeah, I think Braswell, just by those statements, he's clearly on the bubble. And I think both positions was obviously indicated that they're going to add to the linebacker room and the edge spot for sure. Yeah, it just didn't work out. And I think that also goes back to
mega crap.
It goes back to what the intro said. If you guys are just joining us, we had the intro of Todd Bowles talking about, like, you don't hit on every draft pick. Some are going to be busts. And I think he's leaning towards Braswell being one of those. And it's unfortunate, but they know what the areas of need are. It's going to be getting bigger up front, getting faster, getting more depth in your front seven, and really having an opportunity to maximize your secondary that I think is in a good spot for what you have. He also talked about Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. Parrish is probably going to be your likely guy at the nickel still. He did say that Parrish is going to compete with Benjamin Morrison on the outside, which I thought that was, pretty interesting. So yeah, I think it's night as day, as we've been saying throughout the offseason. Priority ones are trying to get the edge and the linebacker room corrected. And then also seeing what you can do with Mike Evans and Cade Otton as far as re-signing. I think those are going to be the team goals. And does that mean going out and trading a large sum for Max Crosby? I think that's still on the table. Again, the Raiders talked today. I don't think John Spytek said anything that says we're not going to trade him, even though he said he wants to keep Max Crosby. I think it translates to, all right, guys, what's your best offer? And I think that's where we're at.
Rightfully so. I mean, but it's honestly going to go to like the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Bucs will be the highest bidder. That's the thing.
That could be the case. Yeah.
And then I know someone said, throw in Chris Godwin to that. And I know you've had this discussion multiple times. So quickly, clearly Chris Godwin gets hurt a lot. People are saying things of his negatives and how he can't fill in for Mike Evans. So if you're going to down a guy like that, do you think the Raiders will value him that much that like, oh yeah, fine, I'll just trade Max Crosby for a guy that even his own fans are downing? No, they want high value for high value, right? Like you don't want to have a question mark about what you're getting back. You want a dependable guy that's going to fit a role that you need for your not up and coming team, a team that you're having to build back up, right? There's nothing to hang your hat on, right? That's how it felt on our defense.
Yeah.
And we got to find a way to get better on defense. Absolutely. And I'm glad they addressed that. But Chris Godwin's not going to be the magic golden ticket to get Max Crosby, right?
No,
it's going to have to be a lot more of draft capital and probably a guy like Antoine Field Jr. or a really good player. It's not going to be a guy that.
Yeah, I would say Antoine Winfield or even Luke Gedeke would be the guys that the Raiders would be intrigued with. Gedeke's a really good tackle. They need offensive line badly, desperately to protect Fernando Mendoza.
It's already checked in.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious today when Spytech talked about what they look for in a quarterback. He basically named Fernando Mendoza. So he's going to be the pick. That's no surprise there. But yeah, overall, we got to find a way to get pressure, as T-Town A13 says. Yeah, we got to find ways to get pressure. I want to play, I think I have one more clip. Yeah, I want to play one more clip, and then we'll just continue the discussion, get into some of your guys' comments as well. But this is Jason Licht and Todd Bowles talking about the edge position and like how certain things haven't worked out from the edge spot, especially in the draft. Then Todd Bowles talks about the want to get bigger, and then lastly talking about making trades or even moving on from older veterans, which I thought was very intriguing. So here's Todd Bowles and Jason Licht.
You're still trying to look for answers at that position. Has anything changed or evolved about the way you scout that position in college to NFL?
I think it always does every year. We go back and look at, the players that we liked, how they developed, and there's a lot of them that we liked that have become good players, but we just didn't have the opportunity to take. I think the ones that we had some questions on maybe didn't fare as well, and you have to, whether they're with us or not, I'm not pointing out any particular player. I think it's always evolving, the process. We're always trying to find what it is that is the secret to success, and I think that will always be the case. There is no secret. It isn't scientific, but yes, we always are trying to find, to look for common traits that lead to success.
So this year, this time around, what is that emphasis of players that you need on this team?
I think we need to get bigger. From a team standpoint, I think we need to get bigger. We're smaller at some positions. From a size standpoint, I like to get bigger regardless of what position it is, and I think that'll be a little more emphasis this year.
That's the tricky situation. It's you have to look at the whole picture. You have to see what you're, like I said before, not up here, but over there with some of you guys. You want to maintain flexibility at all times to be able to do something that might surprise you. Surprises always come up. Moving on from players that have been very good is very tough, especially when they're still playing at a very high level, but you also have to look into the future. So everyone is a individual case. It's not, you can't just use a broad stroke and say, when are you going to get rid of a player that's maybe getting up there in age. I think everybody's different. Some players can play longer than others.
Yeah, there you go. So a lot was said there, just talking about like the edge position and how, maybe there wasn't an opportunity to get a guy that they wanted, whether that's in the first round trading up for somebody. Again, the amount of costs that it would have been. We don't know, but or maybe just being back in day two and guys being taken ahead of them, or maybe missing evaluation as well. So all those things play a part. But I love that Todd Bowles talked about getting bigger. I think that definitely needs to be an emphasis, like he said. And then the openness to potentially making trades based on the situation, and if it is the right one to do. All of it plays a part, not only for this year, but they also have to look at next year. So I think that is a good explanation of that.
I did like how he mentioned that this draft class is good at edge rushers and linebackers.
Yeah.
Early an area of the need that we have.
Yeah.
He did a long-winded speech about how it literally all ties into Mike Evans, it seems like, right?
Mhm.
You have guys that are up there in age, but do you want to get rid of them? Blah, blah, blah. It's like writing a story of like, will you allow this to happen kind of thing. And it seemed like I said a sob story, but it just seems like how they're talking about Mike Evans, which leads you to believe, or he could potentially be leaving, or it's just that he told them, no, I'm not going to do anything of signing anything prior to free agency. I want to get to free agency and see. Maybe beforehand, they're like, oh, let's get this done. I don't want to go nowhere. Because the like hurrah moment of I want to be a Buccaneer for life. They sold him that 2 years ago. Like, oh no, let's make you a Buck for life. Life means your whole life. Maybe it's just the life of that tenure of a Buccaneer 2 year, but I don't know. But either way, it's coming to the real depths of you could be losing Mike Evans, but if you do lose him, where are you going to put those priorities, right? Where are you going to put those resources? And I think we've kind of said it over and over again. You got to help out the defensive side. I know people think you can't replace him like Evans. You can't, but you can supplement areas where you can get still a damn good offense. You can't make Mike Evans again, but you can recreate him in different ways.
Yep.
And there's that's what you're getting paid the big bucks for, Jason. And Jason looks like he's lost some weight. He looks slimmer. I think Todd Bowles, when he stresses out, he gains weight. Jason Licht stresses out, he loses weight. But that's just my observations.
Yeah, no, I think there was, again, I'm just excited about that they were talking the right things. They didn't come in today and say, oh, we need to address the tight end position. It was more so we need to look at what our weaknesses are, and that is edge and linebacker. And I think that was pretty clear. Edge, interior defensive line, linebacker looks like it is going to be a priority. Now they have to go out and prove it, though. Like we've heard this before. Now it's about, can they go out and actually get the guys that they want to get and make things happen? How aggressive are you going to be as far as dollar amount? What type of contingency plans do you have? If you can't get a said free agent, is there going to be trade avenues explored? Nick Herbig, is he going to be explored? What is the cost for him? Is it going to cost you less than Max Crosby? Looking at other free agents that maybe you didn't get last year, which is like Caleb Von Chason or a Bradley Chubb that became available. So looking at those different avenues, I think is definitely important. Getting maybe a DJ Reader, even though he's not a great pass rusher, but guess what he is? He's big. Yeah, he's big. And he can stuff the run, and he only costs you $4.5 million to do so. So those are things that I would definitely, if you're a Bucs fan and you're joining us here today, I would be excited about that. But again, at this time and moment, it's just potential of the possibility. We don't have anything concrete. It's just words. Now it's about presenting that action, and that's going to be important.
Yeah, it is huge. I mean, another thing that it irks me, and we had this conversation. It's Jason Licht saying that, oh, we had guys on our board, we just missed them. They just were out of our reach. They went higher than we expected, kind of thing. And I'm like, that adds to my point of positional value. Like, there are some players or some positions you you shouldn't take in the first round, like a running back or a linebacker top 5. And we were huge on that. It's like just you're putting all your money on a guy that far away from the ball. And it's almost like you got to expect him to be great. And that's why even last year I was like, no, Campbell's going to fall. Like there's no way he's going to go that high. He's an off-ball linebacker. Come on, yes, he has traits he can do that, but he's not going to be that. And then the knee thing, drop him further. To be a top 5 linebacker, you got to be great. Yeah. And is Sonny Styles that? Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that turned into a linebacker, and I know he doesn't have many holes into his game, but still, it's a linebacker off ball.
Yeah.
That's why you have Orville Reese higher than him, because they're going to see him as an edge.
Potentially. Yeah.
Right. So that's why he is that much higher. It's not necessarily because of that. David Bailey, I don't think is a better player than Sonny Styles, but he's rated higher. Why? He's an edge player, positional value, right? Yeah. You pay those guys that much more. Again, thinking GM head, bigger picture. If you're going to pay this guy like a Myles Garrett, that's the potential highest point you get to. You better sure as hell find guys in the draft. You can save these guys for at least 4 to 5 years. You don't have to pay them that much, and you can reap the benefits from them. Yeah. You can't be doing this crap of, oh, we'll get it later. No, you don't get it later because you're never going to have it later. Those guys go so early. And then you give me the sob story of, oh, we don't ever pick that high. Well, guess what? This is the highest you've ever picked. You better find a way to get that.
Yeah.
Whether it is trading up, whether it is the guy falls to you, or you find a way to trade for a guy. I mean, shit, we traded for, sorry saying shit, but heck, we traded for JPP for a 3rd round pick. Maybe we go through free agency, we get some pieces here and there, and we trade a 3rd round pick because we have more money, because maybe Mike Evans doesn't sign back or something happens.
Yeah.
And we can get like Kayvon Thibodeau. There's another rumor that's been going around, like with, I know it's not good sources, but that is a potential guy. Trade a 3rd round pick, swap 4ths, pick up another edge rusher. Hopefully we got Boye Mafe in the same. But so you get a rotation of edge rushers. Find a way to attack that room and get a better front 7. I know we talked about bigger of Jason Jones in our practice squad. That's a big body. Simmons, Elijah Simmons, another massive body.
Yeah,
I think those are keys to what we're moving forward, and we want to eventually be bigger, stop run, and then get fast guys on the edge. But yeah, this draft is key for defense, and I think they kind of told that and told a story of what we're hoping they would say. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Akeem Messidor comes to mind, especially if they're talking bigger as far as overall edge. He's an older prospect. He's going to be 25. Does have it. Yeah, he basically David Walker, but he's got an injury history. He's got a lot of production at Miami, but he would be someone they could be interested in. I'm not a big fan of TJ Parker or Keldrick Falk. If you guys watch the film studies on that, you would find out, because I just think they're very raw.
Click around and find out.
Yeah, click around and find out. For sure. Cassius Howell, we've been talking about him for a lot. I mean, we love him. But again, if they want true size, he's not the biggest guy. It's just arm length, short arms, but he's got, thicker lower body and is stout as far as muscular build. Sonny Styles, again, 6'5" linebacker. That's as big as you can potentially be. So yeah, I mean, Styles will be interesting if he falls, or even like an Orville Reese if he does fall. I think Reese is better at linebacker personally. But teams are going to want to put him on the edge for sure. And then Styles, if he's there at 15, obviously that's a home run pick. I mean, but they're going to have a lot of options. CJ Allen, another one that's bigger, can play.
Here's another good point. K-Laird too. Says one flaw of Light is that he's so reliant on the players he's drafted. It seems like they force the players to play way above their skill level, e.g. KJ Britt and Servassier. So, but that's something we also mentioned even last offseason. You can't go into the season with Servassier as your starting linebacker with no competition. And then they fed us the lie that was one of our best, if not the best position on our whole team.
Yeah.
Not just the defense, our whole team, middle linebacker room. That's it, guys. And no, so some of that's like, no, we saw it. Every fan saw it. It's not like it was, oh, what happened? No, like it was not a reliant play. And you couldn't keep forcing Levante to play a role that he's not adepted or great at.
Yeah.
Let the man be a cerebral guy, and he's telling everyone else to go, and he fits the holes that he knows where the ball is going to be. Not slam in there, try and pass rush nonstop, try and fill the void that Devin White was. That is the problem that I think Jason Licht has. He relied too much on the guy he drafted, but didn't understand that the guys that he had weren't good enough to run what Todd Bowles is doing. And I think he gave a lot of credit to Todd Bowles, saying based off their credit card limits were too high, he didn't think they were going to do well. And then Todd gave 3 out of 4 division titles. He was surprised at that. And I thought that was kind of telling. Like Jason's like, oh, well, maybe it's because I didn't bring that much in either. Free agency, and I didn't draft the best for that position either, defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're looking at let's help out Todd, because Todd's going to definitely need it, because his ass is on the hot seat. He's steaming. But
yeah. I mean, they're going to have to they got to put more resources there. That's for sure. They talked about that today, so I thought that was good. Great point there, Kaler, too. And he also mentioned, or Bud Campbell mentioned Anthony Walker. Didn't work, and a lot of things just didn't go right last year. So I think what you have to do is you have to look at your overall process. And I think Jason Licht also mentioned that it was like, disappointment was greatly last year from just the, not meeting what we thought we were going to do as far as expectations, but also he said it was on all of us. He said blame is on everyone here, and we got to do a much better job of what we need to do. And that as far as finding pass rush and finding linebackers and doing a recheck of everything and making sure these processes of what we've been doing in the past, maybe it's time to adjust certain things. And I think that's why he talked about being open to making trades, being open to giving up draft picks, etc. They're going to need a creative plan. So I'm excited to see what that plan is going to be once free agency hits in a couple weeks. We're less than 14 days away from it starting, which is going to be a lot of fun. And, obviously the combine's coming up. Anything else we wanted to touch on? I think we pretty much covered it. I wanted to spend like the last couple of minutes just talking about the combine, talking about certain prospects. But basically, if you guys are just joining us, appreciate everyone here. We talked about the main takeaways, which is edge and linebacker. That's going to be on repeat throughout the offseason. Open to trades, free agency, aggression, plan in place. All those things have been mentioned. And Mike Evans is probably going to be the first domino that we see, whether he's back or he's leaving. So those are going to be the topics throughout the offseason. I think it's going to be cool to monitor. But Mark, any other things that we forgot to mention that we want to bring up?
That was brought up today.
Yeah. Well, just on your mind, anything else that we forgot to talk through?
I mean, it was not mentioned at all, like Rashad White kind of leaving free agency, but they can't talk about guys that aren't under contract. Right. That's cool. That's the biggest thing. Like, these guys are like politicians. Like they beat around the bush on certain respects, and they don't mention names of guys that aren't on the roster and how quickly they're so good at it. Like there was something where I was watching Todd Bowles' press conference, and he literally said the exact same thing twice. I thought I was watching it on replay. He said the option B, C, D, and E, and Jason's done well in the past. I'm like, dude, didn't you just say that like 10 minutes ago? Like in the press conference? Like, holy crap. I clicked the damn screen. I was like, wait a minute. Did I rewind this? It's crazy how they speak that way. But it's I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's Mike Evans first. Levante, they touched on a little bit, but it's front seven and how are we going to improve that? And with that, it's just they're here to talk to guys, but they already know what the hell they're going to do. It's what is this path that they're excited about? That's what I want to see. Like, what plan is this that's going to produce a winner again? And I did like how I was like, that's one thing. Todd Bowles was saying how with Zach Robinson, it's the first guy that he's had since Liam that has experience. But he's like, he has a lot more experience. He talked to me about situational football a lot more than the other guys did. He has a plan in place that he wants to put that he could see fit with our players that we currently have. And they asked him about the wide zone. Is he going to bring Atlanta's wide zone? He's like, it's not just that. He can bring some of that, but we do things very well as well. So, and he knows that. That's something cool that, yeah, you don't think Liam Cohen and him talk a lot too? They both want to get better, and iron sharpens iron. I think Zach Robinson's the best that they could have gotten experience-wise. And
yeah,
it'll come to fruition during the season, but it's the best option Todd Bowles had to save himself this year. And I know a lot of it's going to come down to the players they get to help on defensive side of the ball. But I think they're in good hands. I'm not going to say great hands because Liam Cohen blew you out of the water, like with the things he would say and how he would spit it out.
Yeah.
But let's see. I think they're in good hands, especially if you're coming from that McVay tree and good friends with Liam Cohen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just another point to that, Todd Bowles will be able to focus more on the defense. I think that was a big factor in hiring Zach Robinson because he has that experience. It's going to allow Todd Bowles to be more free and doesn't have to worry about said offense because you already have a play caller that understands what he's doing, knows his plan and process, and is going to be able to get these guys in better position, better utilized on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive line was a big topic by Jason Licht, and getting those guys healthy. I did wish someone would have asked him if it was a possibility that Graham Barton could be potentially moved to left guard or even a guard position, and maybe Ben Bredesen tried at center. We'll have to see if that comes up at all in the future. But the main thing is those guys are going to be healthy, ready to go for the start of training camp as far as the offensive line goes. So I think that was key. But yeah, just having more attention to your specialty, which is the defense for Todd Bowles, I think that's going to play a very pivotal role. And yeah, I mean, we are very close, guys. And with the combine this weekend, really looking forward to it. I think, yeah, Kaylor talked about Cassius Howe. Cassius Howe is we love the dude. I think it's going to be very interesting on Thursday when the defensive line and linebackers work out and get measured. What are those measurements going to be for him as far as his arm length? And how well does he perform in terms of the 40-yard dash, the 10-yard split, all the vertical and agility drills. Those are going to be a big part of it. But I'll ask you, Mark, I mean, is there anything you're looking forward to as far as the combine goes? Any names in particular outside of Cassius Howe that you're looking at?
I mean, really, the combine, you just want to see wow factor. Like,
yeah,
how fast are these guys? How big are these guys? Like, to me, yes, arm length does matter in certain situations. If it shows that you're using it on tape. If you just have long arms, you don't use it at all. You don't know what the hell you have.
Yeah,
that's an issue as well. So, like, a lot of these guys look at that and like, oh, can we teach them it? Right. But I see it as if they haven't learned through 4 years of college or 3 to 4 years, like, how much are you going to develop them that much more?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, it's more just the wow factor. Like, it's almost a show. It's literally what it is. They make it a 3 or 4 day show of, oh, look how superior these guys are as athletes. They're all damn good. Right. But Bucky's one of the best football players when we get him on the field.
Yeah.
And he didn't run fast. He didn't blow you away with, look how big he is. No, he's just a good football player. And that's usually what we look for. But it is fun to kind of see these guys be like, holy crap, I didn't know that you can be that damn big. Or how did a guy that big run that fast, kind of thing. This is the wow factor. But it's nothing that dictates, oh, I want that guy on my team, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just more so of what you talked about. It's not so much about the 40-yard dash. It's more so, yeah, what are the measurements going to be? What are the size of the edge rushers, the size of the overall linebacker class, and also how do they do in drills? It's really the drills that I have intrigued with, and how they do there, and do they do it the right way? Are they told once or twice when they're asked to do something? So all those factors play a part. And then, yeah, from there, we're just continuing to watch more tape, make sure that tape matches what they do on the field as far as their overall athleticism. That plays a part. Or if someone surprises you, you go back and recheck the tape, and you're like, oh, okay, where did that come from? Kind of thing. But yeah, I wanted to also,
Actually, can I bring something up though?
yeah, go ahead.
So check this out. So is that your screen? Oh, I share my screen.
Okay, hold on.
Remove yours. There we go. Okay, so this is a 3-year span where Jason Licht went ape shit on addressing the edge rush and defense. I'm hoping something like this happens. So 2017, it was the year before we traded for JPP. Okay, we had Joe McCoy with 6 sacks. Clint McDonald, your interior lineman, 5 sacks. You had your 2 interior guys with the most sacks. Next guy was Will Clark. Do y'all remember him?
No.
Right, Robert Ayers, he signed him 2 sacks. Ryan Russell, 2 sacks. These were your leading sack guys in the whole 2017 season.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
He needed dire help. Dire help. So what did the man do? He went and did some moves. Guy Jason Pierre-Paul, Carl Nassib, Vita Vea.
Yeah.
And look what happened. 12 and a half sacks his first year, JPP. And he helps other guys around him because of that. Carl Nassib came out of nowhere. 6.5 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, 17.5 tackles for loss, JPP. When you get a guy that's an alpha, you can kind of work around to use him, right? So how are we going to do this? Is it going to be getting a trade for an alpha guy like that, which was really, truly just a 3rd-round pick and swapping 4th-round picks? Could it be like getting a guy to recreate his career, or getting a guy like Thibodeau or something like that? You never know. But like, that is a huge jump in production. 6.5 tackles for loss, Quan Alexander, 4th-round linebacker. Like, huge. And then one more year, you get Shaq Barrett, 19.5 sacks, JPP 8.5, Carl Nassib again, 6, Sue 2.5. It's just, it comes in bunches and numbers. Look at the tackles for loss, 23, 11, 10, 8.5. Why? Because you had guys that can kind of create pressure and havoc. You didn't just have 1, you had 2 now. People would key in, oh, JPP had a 12.5 sack season the year before. Watch him. Oh, you get a guy that can beat one-on-ones and gets 19.5 sacks, breaks the damn record for sacks for the Bucs. Like, that is impressive. Can Jason put together something like this again? Which I would love. I mean, look at even Avante at 12.5 tackles for loss. You got to find ways to get guys that you can build around or just generate pressure, because you went from nothing. Joe McCoy, Clint McDonald was your interior. They got you pressure. That was it. Look at the tackle for loss, almost damn near nothing. And you only got 2 guys. And it was 1 good guy that you traded for, and then it's a free agent pickup. Can we get guys like that and then supplement it with draft picks? I think he can do it. He's done it before. Let's just get back to it. It's like everyone's like, oh, don't you remember? I'm like, yeah, but that was 17 and 18. We're in 2026, guys. That was damn near 10 years ago. So let's see if you can recreate this, because you've done it before. You just got to be able to either trade, find a way to sign, because I know way back when he signed guys, it didn't end up well. So that's why he started doing bargain bins, right? Well, let's see. Like, you can create ways where you can generate pressure, but you got to find it. You got to go out and get it, either by the draft or trading draft capital. So which one are you going to do? Because you're clearly not going to spend that much. So let's see. That was a little thing of 3 years in a row. Bang, bam, bam. And look at that.
Yeah,
and
I was looking.
Win the Super Bowl.
I was trying to remember who was on the Super Bowl roster, because he added what was it? Yeah, Raheem Nunez-Roches, who came in and was a solid backup nose for you. He also added Steve McClendon as well. which I thought was really good. And that was a trade. So he did a trade there. And trying to remember who else was on the edge room, because you had Shaq Barrett, you had JPP.
They just returned. So I mean, it was more. So look back at
we didn't have Carl Nassib, right, for the Super Bowl, because he left. Yeah.
Put that back up now. So like, just as they said, there was no 10-sack guy on the team. Look at this.
Yeah,
there wasn't a 10-sack guy on this team either.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. We had Ndamukong Suh. Yeah.
6'3". So it was more well-rounded yet again.
Mhm.
And then Vita Vea got hurt, missed almost the whole from middle of the season on, then came back for the playoff run.
Yeah.
But like, it was just a bunch of guys thrown together. JPP, Shaq, Devin White going after it. Sue, Golson had to play a bigger role, but it's manufacturing pressure off of those big guys, JPP, Barrett, and Sue. You had guys that were dependable, reliable, and were literally playing every game, right? So like, we need to find guys like that. Yaya could be a piece of it, yes. Vita Vea, sure as hell. But we got to get another one in there. Like, he may be trying, but I don't want to try. I want to do, right? Like, he said there's no secret recipe or whatever the hell he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, find the guys that you know can do it. Either trade for them, or you're gonna have to draft higher, right? Either you reach and get a guy, positional value. You know it's gonna be, if you get a good guy, you're gonna pay him well. Okay, yeah, but you got him 4 to 5 years cheap. You can fire him out there, or you gotta get a guy. JPP, Sue, you gotta pay him, or you gotta trade for him. So let's see what we do.
Yeah, for sure. And last point I want to bring up, casual viewer. Sebastian Joseph Day, I'm on board with him. I think he's a good interior defensive lineman. Be sure to, again, check out our YouTube membership, check out our Substacks. All have exclusive content on there featuring Sheldon Rankins. We talked about Alex Anzalone. These are guys that can come in and help this football team at a reasonable price. Rankins would be a big time. I think he would be more so of like the Ndamukong Suh type of factor. You could sign him for 1 year, close to $9 million probably, but he would definitely help you. Sebastian Joseph Day, another one. He's kind of in that similar mold of like a Nunez Roches, but he can come in and provide a huge body and a guy that can play everywhere across the defensive front. So I think those types of dudes is what you're looking for. Malcolm Kuntz, I would be intrigued. I don't know what his dollar amount is going to be, but he's coming off an ACL a couple years back. Had some good upside. I think he had close to 10 sacks 1 year. So he would be intriguing for sure. But appreciate everyone in here. Appreciate all the support, the comments, the questions. John V is all in on Max Crosby. I think everyone would love Max Crosby. Again, it just depends on what is that cost going to be? What is it going to entail? Is it something the Bucs are going to pull the trigger on? All that plays a part. But yeah, I mean, Mark, any last words? I'm going to pull up. Let me get not that.
Looking at David on your line.
Pull up the like. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and appreciate everyone new here that was joining us.
Other than that, we know the direction. Fix that front seven. Let's see that plan. Clearly, that's the plan. So I'm excited to see where it's going to be. There'll be a lot of judgments once they do enforce that. But I don't know. I honestly think they're not going to make any trades till after the free agency barrage. I think they're going to do it more closer to the draft. But that's just me. I think it's going to be concentration on free agency first, and then, which will piss people off because I don't think they're going to do big money spending like people expect them to do.
Yeah. No, again, that's why I continue to bring up the word creative. I think they have to be calculated. They have to be smart. Will Mike Evans be back? I still lean more 70% that he'll probably be back. Cade Otton, again, remains to be seen. He's probably going to be let go because they just probably not going to have the opportunity to pay him what he deserves. He'll get a higher offer. He'll be a targeted free agent for sure. And we'll see what happens. We have to see who becomes available, who's truly available at edge. We have some guys that we have already mentioned, like I said, via our Substack and also our YouTube membership. So be sure to check that out. And I am looking forward to it. I think I'm going to try to be live again this week, probably on Thursday, because I want to talk about the edge and linebacker positions. So you might see me here on Thursday again. Maybe Mark, we don't know. Again, getting him to get 2 lives in 1 week, that's a tall order. But I will definitely be on here Thursday and try to discuss my thoughts from that day, because I'm really looking forward to just seeing who stands out and get more into draft discussion, and love to hear what you guys have to say as far as the NFL draft and everything happening. So with that said, hope everyone has a good evening, and we will talk to you soon. Go Bucs. See you.